Eric and Larry joining me here on the program. Hi, guys. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. Super Tech University. You guys are like superheroes traveling the country, helping home service professionals with their businesses, not just the owners, but the technicians. And I just want to congratulate you on what you do. For decades. You've learned the hard way in the trenches. And I really believe that you can help smaller home service businesses with the everyday things, including, of course, soft skills where you spend so much time, but in many different areas. And you're able to prevent them from going through some of the pains that you went through.
Yeah. Well, that's what we
Yeah.
do. We learn this the hard way, and we're helping these specific skills that many people don't hit on. We found we taught people how to connect with each other and how to communicate. It would go a long way in service and how people were valued. It went a long way.
Yeah. So we've talked about a lot of different things on the podcast. By the way, everybody, for you viewers out there are a lot of podcasts here, so you can go through them and you can see us talk and hear Eric and Larry talk about their experience in many different areas. Today, I'd like to talk about the service manager lessons. Can you expand on that?
Sure. So this was all born out of us making a mistake over and over. So, a lot of times in a home service business, as it starts to grow, you get to the point where you need a foreman, crew chief, service manager, whatever you might call it in your business. You need somebody with experience to run multiple technicians, right? And the owner is growing the business on the other side, and they don't have time because they're marketing and billing and doing all the other stuff. So all of a sudden, we need somebody to run the team, run the techs. And what inevitably happens in many is we take the best technician because they're good at being a technician and go, "Hey, Jim, you're the service manager now." Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Jim might be really good at being a technician, but does Jim have leadership skills? Does Jim have any training on how to be a leader? Does Jim know how to run 5 or 6 people? Usually not. So we made this mistake multiple times. And every time it was like we might as well just taken a hand grenade and thrown it in the shop and blown the thing up because, we put a person in a position that they didn't have any experience or training in and expected them to excel. So then a cascade would happen. The team's unhappy because they don't have a leader who has any training. So now they're struggling. The owner's struggling because you're like, I gave this guy a raise and a promotion and it's all going to crap. What happened to him? He used to be so good, or she used to be so good. And the person who got promoted isn't happy either because hung them out to dry, putting them in a position that they may or may not have any skill set
Yeah,
in.
there's no skills at
So,
all in the next position.
so what we started doing in our own service business is we started doing training for anybody who thought they wanted to become a manager. Right. So we were preemptively doing these every Wednesday night at 5 o'clock. We would have a mastermind group where we would talk about leadership and I would give a lesson. And then all of a sudden, what we're seeing is some guys would come and go, you know what, Eric, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to bail out of this class because I think I'm happy being a tech. I don't want to do this. And other people would be like, this is the greatest thing. I really want this. So what we've done is we've taken those lessons that we learned from, number one, experiencing a lot of pain and putting the wrong type of person in the wrong job, and then going the next step and training them so that by the time they are moved into that position, they're ready. They actually have some training. We're setting them up for success. So what we've done is we've now put this in video form where we're going through all the same lessons that I was doing in our internal mastermind to prepare that person for being a service manager. Or if at their company now they already are the service manager, they're now getting the training that they might not have gotten in-house through the video series. So we've had a lot of good feedback on this series because this is a pain point in a lot of home service businesses.
And it sounds like it's probably one of the most interesting and needed topics, because a lot of us as business owners, or even as maybe a spouse, or managers, we assume that because we're good at something and we like doing it, anyone can do it. It
Right.
could be that the person has no interest in it. Look how diverse, all the jobs there are out there in the world. Some people are happy installing carpet. They don't want to sell carpet and they don't want to paint. They like installing carpet. And you're like, why would you like to do that? I have experience with thousands of home service providers over the years in my business. And it's interesting because when I talk to most of them who've been in business for decades, they love what they do as a plumber, but they don't want to be an electrician. And I'm like, why doesn't the electrician want to be a plumber and vice versa? And we're all different. So you have to find the right fit.
Yeah. And on that same vein, Larry and I are big believers in the DISC personality profile training. You can't take a certain type of person on the DISC and expect them to be a great service manager. They're just not wired for it, right? Just like Larry wouldn't go, Larry's a super high I, meaning he loves people and he wants to get out there. We're not going to make Larry an actuary where he sits at a computer for 10 hours a day and just grinds numbers and never sees anybody.
Yeah,
he's not going to
tasks.
excel in that position, right?
Terrible.
So the same thing is like if I have somebody who's super task oriented and loves to work alone and is kind of that kind of curmudgeonly tech, why would I make that person the service manager where now their job is dealing with customers and a half a dozen technicians on a personal basis every day?
Well,
that's setting that person up for failure.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's like trying to drive a nail with a screwdriver. It's not that easy. Use the right tool.
Yeah, but you can see where the owner is just like, oh, okay, this guy shows up on time. This guy looks good every day.
Yeah.
Clients like him, so he must be great. So I'm going to bump him up to a service manager. And it's a completely different skill set because now he's not going to show up on time. He's not going to have a good attitude, and clients aren't going to like him. It's a totally different role. It's kind of a lose-lose.
All in here. Do a DISC analysis.
Yeah, take 10 minutes and have them do a DISC assessment, and you probably are halfway there to making the right decision.
Yeah, because when you line people up against the wall, they all look the same, right? They've got eyes, noses, hands, and so forth. But between the ears, we're so different. And there are different types of people, and that's why DISC comes in handy. So we can kind of generalize. I happen to be a pretty strong D, and I've got some I. The S and C, I'm not really sure where they even belong in the world, according to me. I mean, it's not what I do, right? So, understanding who you are, and certainly as management, understanding your people.
Yep.
Yeah. Got it. Thanks, Jim.
Hey, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Go to the description of this podcast, everybody, and check out Super Tech University. You're going to love these guys, Eric and Larry. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you. You too.